Imagine you're an ancient human walking through a forest thousands of years ago. You haven't eaten since yesterday. Then you find a bush covered in bright red berries. They look perfect. They smell sweet. Your stomach is telling you to eat them. But there's one problem. There are no supermarkets, no food labels, no doctors nearby, and definitely no internet telling you whether those berries are dinner or poison. One bad choice could make you violently sick. A worse one could kill you. Yet somehow, our ancestors learned to survive in environments filled with thousands of plants, mushrooms, roots, insects, and animals. So how did ancient humans figure out what was safe to eat? The answer wasn't a magical instinct. It was something far more powerful. Thousands of generations of observation, experimentation, memory, and knowledge passed from one human to another. For ancient humans, finding food wasn't as simple as finding something that looked delicious. Nature can be deceptive. Some nutritious plants look strange, some dangerous plants look harmless. And something that one animal can eat safely may be harmful to humans. Hunger made this problem even more dangerous. Imagine you've been searching for food all day and suddenly discover an unfamiliar fruit. Do you eat it and risk getting sick? Or walk away and risk going hungry? Our ancestors faced versions of this decision again and again, but they weren't starting from zero every morning. Humans had something most people forget when imagining prehistoric life. They had each other. A child didn't need to personally test every plant in the forest. Parents, grandparents, and other members of the group could show them what they already knew. That turned food knowledge into a survival tool that could outlive the person who discovered it. Imagine an ancient child following an experienced gatherer through the landscape. The adult stops beside one plant and digs beneath it for a root. Later, they walk past another plant without touching it. The child watches. Day after day, those patterns become lessons. This fruit is collected when ripe. That root must be processed before eating. These nuts are worth carrying home. That plant is avoided. Humans are unusually good at learning from other humans, and food knowledge could spread through families and communities instead of being rediscovered by every individual. Observation of animals may sometimes have provided useful clues too, but it wasn't a perfect test. Humans and other animals don't always react to the same chemicals in the same way. So seeing an animal eat something didn't automatically mean it was safe. The most reliable guide was often accumulated human experience. Every generation inherited a kind of invisible survival manual stored not on paper, but in people. But this creates an uncomfortable question. If knowledge was passed down, how did anyone discover safe foods in the first place? We can't know exactly how every prehistoric food entered the human diet. Some discoveries were probably gradual. Humans could use familiar smells, tastes, textures, and similarities to known foods as clues. New foods may have been approached cautiously rather than swallowed in huge amounts immediately. But mistakes certainly happened. Someone ate the wrong plant. Someone prepared a food incorrectly. Someone became sick. And the group could remember. That's the brutal part of prehistoric learning. Knowledge sometimes had a price. A painful experience could become a warning that protected everyone else. Humans didn't need perfect knowledge. They needed enough shared knowledge to make fewer dangerous mistakes over time. And once language and teaching became increasingly sophisticated, those lessons became even harder to lose. Then, humans gained another advantage. Fire. Cooking didn't simply make meat softer. Heating could transform many foods that were difficult, unpleasant, or risky to consume raw. Tough roots could become softer. Meat became easier to chew. And sufficient cooking can kill many diseases causing microbes and parasites. Other forms of processing also mattered. Humans could crush, soak, dry, peel, or otherwise prepare foods before eating them. Suddenly, the question wasn't only, can we eat this? It became, can we make this edible? That distinction opened new possibilities. A resource that looked useless in one form could become valuable after preparation. Humans weren't simply adapting themselves to whatever food nature offered. Increasingly, they were changing food to suit themselves. This may be the most important part of the story. Ancient humans survived unfamiliar foods not because every individual possessed an extraordinary sense of taste or smell. Their real advantage was culture. One person could discover something, another could remember it. Someone else could teach it to a child. That child could carry the knowledge for decades and pass it to another generation. A single discovery could survive longer than the person who made it. Think about how powerful that is. One human alone has limited experience, but a group can contain knowledge gathered across many lifetimes. Which plants appear during certain seasons? Where particular roots grow? Which foods require preparation? Which places are dangerous? When animals migrate? Human survival became less dependent on what one individual knew and more dependent on what the entire community remembered. So how did ancient humans know what was safe to eat? They didn't always know. That's what made prehistoric life so dangerous. But they observed. They experimented. They learned from mistakes. They processed difficult foods. Most importantly, they taught one another. Every safe meal represented knowledge accumulated across generations. And strangely, you still depend on the same system today. You probably didn't personally discover that potatoes should be cooked, which mushrooms are edible, or how long meat needs to be heated. Someone taught you. A package told you. A recipe showed you. The technology changed, but the strategy remained remarkably familiar. Humans survive by inheriting knowledge from other humans. And once our ancestors became good at sharing that knowledge, they could do something even more extraordinary. They could enter environments they had never seen before and learn how to survive there.